I'd like to welcome Barb DeLong, a fellow paranormal romance writer with the Wild Rose Press. Welcome, Barb. And this is another episode of Creativity and the Paranormal. And it's our evening version, so I've decided to put on some evening wear, just for fun. And we're gonna talk to Barb about her new book and about her. But first, I'd like to show my special glass. I've started this new tradition. And you can see, it's hard to see. It says Ghouls Night Out. And I got it for my birthday years ago. My birthday's in October. And a coworker at my old day job gave it to me. Instead of Girls Night Out, it's Ghouls Night Out. And there's a spider web on there.
That's cute.
So that's what I'm drinking out of. What have you got, Barb?
I've got my No Drama Llama mug.
Oh, I love it.
And a spot of tea.
Oh, very nice. And the only drama we'll have here tonight is in our fiction, right? Anyway.
Right, exactly.
So I would like to I just want to tell everyone a little about Barb and a little bit about her new book. So Barb writes contemporary and paranormal stories of love, laughter, and magic. And you're going to know there'll be a feature creature in there somewhere. I love that. Her short stories appear in several anthologies, and she's currently working on a paranormal romance series called Keepers of Magic. Great title. It's about a society of witches desperate to keep their existence a secret. The first in the series, The Witch Whisperer, came out last January of 2023 with, of course, the Wild Rose Press. Mm-hmm. So now I just want to mention something about The Witch Whisperer.
Okay.
Perfectionist witch Willow Gladstone will go to any lengths to improve her weak and glitchy magic. In order to avoid incarceration in the secret witch society's haven, she doesn't bargain for a rehab residency with the one person she'd like to avoid, the exasperating but sexy online magic fixer, the Witch Whisperer. Ooh, I love it. I'm excited. I want to read this book. I do. So let me begin with our first question, Barb.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about the paranormal realm that inspires you to write in that genre?
Well, I was writing contemporary, but whenever I picked up a fantasy novel or paranormal, the worlds that were created just fired my imagination. And I got all kinds of ideas for books, more from the fantasy books I read than the contemporary. And I love some of the books I read, how they dealt with the animals, especially familiars, witches familiars. Oh, yeah. And that's the creature. I'm sure that most listeners to your videos are paranormal readers, and they would know what a familiar is, but it's an animal that
yeah, tell us again. Yeah. Go
ahead. They glom onto a witch, and they're a protector, a comfort animal, a confidant. They're all what a best friend would be, and a protector. So I loved how creative the writers were with the animals, and I couldn't wait to write my own stories and incorporate some of that, those magic animals in it. So animals play a big role in my stories. So, and the Witch Whisperer has very adorable familiars.
Oh, I love it.
But aside from that, magic, I always wanted magic to be real. So I thought, what if magic was real in this world? And so, it just took off from there. So that just paranormals just grabbed my fancy. I just, that's why I was inspired to write them.
Oh, yes. Well, me too, quite frankly. That's why we're here. And yeah, I love that. I would love magic to be real. In a lot of ways, I feel like it is. I won't get on a whole thing here, but we're going to go to the next question. But I feel like it is like when you see a beautiful sunset, you feel it in your heart, or a beautiful snowfall, a very light, peaceful, quiet snowfall just, hits me in my heart. It just melts. Things like that.
Yeah, we do have magic in our lives. We just have to recognize it.
Yes. Well put. I completely agree. So I have to ask, do you have a favorite paranormal movie or TV show now or when you were growing up?
Well, growing up, this is going to age me, but I loved Bewitched.
Oh, me too.
And I love the gentle magic of the Good Witch, the gentle romance in there, the slow burn of the Good Witch.
On the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah, and I loved the humor of practical magic and the three kick-ass ladies of Charmed. And so, I've watched all of those several times. And let's see, and of course the real deep fantasy, which I can't write those big epic deep fantasies like Lord of the Rings or even the Harry Potter series, but all of those are, you can glean so much from reading and watching those movies or reading the books associated with them and enrich your own writing with them. But yeah, I love the fantasies, but I can't write the deep dark stuff. I like the more lighthearted.
Oh yes, yes. And you just named all my favorites as well. I do have to say, my sisters and I love practical magic so much that when a new friend, sorry, I have to trim my bangs. When a new friend or girlfriend, whatever, came into our circle, we'd say, "Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, we're going to show it to you." And then we would show it, and we would fall asleep before. We tried to do the midnight margaritas, like in the scene where they're all dancing and laughing. And we started our midnight margaritas about 9 or 10. But we would have the midnight margaritas and show people the movie, and it was so much fun.
So, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was like a practical magic party.
Yeah.
So, again, I have to ask, because here we are in the paranormal as well. Have you ever seen a ghost, or have you experienced something strange, or maybe someone you know that had that?
Well, I didn't experience this firsthand, in a way. I lived in Anaheim before I moved to this Mission Viejo. I lived in a mid-century modern in Anaheim near Disneyland. And when we first moved in, a fellow down the street ran up to us and said, "Oh, did you know there was a murder-suicide in your house that you just bought?"
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like the original owners back in the 50s. This housing tract was that old. And he had tied his wife up in the kitchen and killed her with a hammer, then went into the garage, and did away with himself with the car, putting the exhaust on, or putting the car on and with the car exhaust. So years later, we owned the house, and my husband's cousin and his new wife came to visit, and we showed her through the house, and we were back in a bedroom, and she says, "I've got this really cold feeling when I walk through your kitchen."
Wow.
"You did?" She said, "Something bad there." She said, I hope I'm not upsetting you." And I was getting chills because we knew the story of what had happened there. So she said she's a sensitive to things like that.
Yeah.
She can go through a house and she has to have her place cleansed. So whenever, if there's anything bad in there, she cleanses her home. So anyway, that's the closest. And I've had other acquaintances and relatives tell me they've experienced paranormal activities like slamming cupboards in the middle of the night and stuff like that. So I haven't, and I wish I had, but I haven't.
So when you were living in the house, you didn't experience anything.
No,
Right.
I tried. I tried to call up the spirits, but
Nah.
nope,
Oh yeah.
nothing. I did a Ouija board. I did all
Oh
kinds of
my gosh. You needed the
nothing.
witch whisperer.
I did. Yeah.
Maybe no, I mean I listen to a lot of paranormal podcasts, so I get these ideas and they discuss them on these podcasts. Sometimes I've heard people say maybe they're not seeing a spirit or feeling a spirit, but they are feeling the event, like just the energy
Yeah.
of what had happened. So they call that
Yes.
residual or something.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what she picked up.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know.
Yeah. I don't know the science or if there's science
Yeah.
behind it or it's something. There's got to be something. She felt it. And she named the
Right.
place
Right.
too. So
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
she named the room. So,
Right. Where it had occurred.
yeah.
And she
Right.
didn't know anything. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of my favorite questions as well. What advice would you give to a aspiring writer who has not been published yet, but is seeking to get published and, get their work out there?
Okay. Well, first of all, you've got to finish the book or
Yeah,
finish whatever it is, the book or the novella, whatever you're working on. You got to
that's
finish it.
good. That's good.
So button chair. And
Yeah.
that is number one. Get it finished. Get eyes on it. Beta readers, maybe a professional editor to have a look at it and look at the feedback. Pick what you want. It's your book, but pick what you want out of all of that feedback. It can be a little overwhelming or confusing at times, but
Yes.
I had a lot of input from critique groups and a professional editor on the Witch Whisperer, and that really helped me. I
Yeah.
finally but then the biggest thing is you've got to know when it's good enough. You've got to put a pin in it. I could still be
Oh, yeah.
editing my book today if it weren't for
Right.
people pushing me and saying, come on, get it out there. I was like 3 or 4 months past my 3 or 4 deadline move outs.
Oh, I see. Right, right. Yes.
And I finally said, you know what, I could mess around with this forever. So figure out or try and talk yourself into saying
Yeah.
it is good enough. I am getting it out there. And then just
Yeah.
whether you want to self-publish it or go more the traditional route or the small press, whatever your goal is, know when it's time. Because that was more
Exactly.
than one piece of advice, wasn't it?
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And this is going to sound a little odd because it's not about writing a book, but one of my many day jobs, I was secretarial. I was as a private school in LA, and it was summertime. One of the teachers was putting together a letter for the new students or something like that. I was in the admissions office and she was on jury duty. So she was a type A. So she was writing and writing and writing. And so we were emailing back and forth. And every time, then she finally came in, I would give her the letter, she would edit, give her the letter, edit. We went back and forth, back and forth. I said, is she ever going to say, you can print this letter off? Is it done?
Right,
And the
right.
other admin told me, oh, she'll change it as many times as you give it back to her. So she finally, I was ready to, do something, not something bad. Finally, she gave it back. She goes, don't let me see it again. I said, I will be glad to not let you see it again. So anyway, we finally got it. But I think, it's similar to what you're talking about. You could edit, for the next 50 years. It's like, yeah,
Right.
it has to be done.
Yeah.
But,
And if you keep sending it to people for feedback, they'll keep finding something and it'll just be
yeah,
like this vicious circle. And yeah, you gotta
and
stop.
I'm gonna throw something out there too. I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. I never had good, I mean, it was just me. I never found my sweet spot with a critique group. I tried and tried. And there was one when I was back in California, and this one woman, we would submit parts of what we wrote, and then we'd all talk in a circle. It was like 6 women. And she said, and she was like angry. And she said, and this was the beginning of Bay of Darkness, which is now published with Wild Rose Press. And I'm sorry, I just want to say, I mean, I'm just going to say it's a fact. It won finalist position in the Reader's Favorite Book Contest, okay, which has hundreds and hundreds of books submitted. The only reason I'm saying that is because she said, you broke the rule. You're supposed to do, oh God, I can't even remember what it was. It was something very odd,
There's lots of rules.
Yeah, when you have this character and you do this and do that, and you don't say this and you don't do that. But it was a very weird thing. And guess what? It was published and it placed in this contest, and it's got really good reviews. And I didn't follow that rule that she gave. It was, again, I wish I could repeat it, but it was something very off the wall. And then this other lady, she said, I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. And she was the leader of the group. And I'm like, bye bye. No, not for me. And I'm not bitter or anything. It's just you have to know, what is your group and the people that, are not your group.
Right.
So I finally got Wild Rose Press, and my editor is Diane Rich, and she's my group now, and she's great.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
I've had the same critique group for many, many years. During COVID, we didn't meet, but I had, they became very good friends, and we shared all of our work. Some were not writing as much as others, but they gave great feedback. So we were,
yeah,
nice, and it was social as well. So it was all things, and it was great. So yeah, it's very, and that's another place where you have to know when to walk away from it.
Yes,
when it's not working, and just do it in a professional manner, just a friendly say, sorry, it's not working out, and go on and try and find another group or another person to partner with on critiques. So
and you do need feedback. I'm not saying to have someone always say everything's great either. No, of course, but you have your happy medium.
Right, exactly.
Do you mind if you show us a closer look at your books there? You have the Witch.
I got it right here.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it's such a beautiful cover. It really
is. Debbie Taylor from the Wild Rose Press designed this. And what I loved, she captured my vision exactly. I wanted, this is a scene basically from the book. And one of my main characters, Willow, she creates butterflies from her hand. And so I kind of wanted that ethereal wispiness and the like magic butterflies. So she just captured it exactly. So
and I love the blue mist in the background behind her hand.
Very, very pretty.
Yes.
And striking. And what I like is it almost looks like they're lighted. That effect that there's a light in the book. So
great. Yeah, very illuminated.
Yeah, I really like it. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah. I've entered in a couple of cover contests. I bet it'll do well.
Oh, I think so too. I absolutely agree. And I hope you don't mind. I want to ask, can you tell me the backstory of that beautiful painting behind you?
Oh, I just ordered that from Amazon because I have a beach explosion going on here. Living in Southern California, I can't afford to live at the beach. So I thought I'm going to bring the beach in here. I even have a full surfboard on an upper wall.
Wow.
This is the type of, it's a townhouse, and it's got like 25 feet of windows up, and there's one blank wall, and it was perfect for a surfboard. So I have a surfboard.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I love it.
All beachy things all over.
Yes.
It's fun. I like to walk in the door and smile. So yeah, that's just that. I liked it because I can see the sunsets at the ocean from here. And it's kind of the close-up of what I see far away.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. So I do want to ask you, you've got Witch Whisperer out, but this is part of the, did you say the Magic Keepers? The
The
Keepers of Magic.
Keepers of Magic series. It's book one.
Can you
I'm
give us a
planning.
taste of the other ones, or go ahead?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you give us a taste of the upcoming book, perhaps,
Sure.
or
I'm
whatever you'd like?
currently tapping away on book two called The Keeper's Code. And I've taken one of the secondary characters, the biggest secondary character from the Witch Whisperer. His name is Ash Hunter. He's called a keeper of magic. The Bureau of Witchery has a whole bunch of these keepers that go out and make sure that magic is kept secret. So, like for instance, Willow, her magic broke, her telekinetic magic broke, so she can walk down the street and things are floating along beside her. So these are
Wow, I love
yeah,
that.
they keep, that's not gonna fly.
It's
Somebody's
inconvenient for her, but
right. So he wipes cameras, he can wipe memories, and he can
oh,
even mesmer, I call it. He can hold your hand and just calm you and totally take your stress away.
oh.
I want one of those, but
Yeah, we need that.
I wouldn't mind an Ash for a number of reasons. But
Yeah.
anyway, he can wipe memories too, and cameras and things like that. So he's so book two will be more of trying to keep the society a secret. And I thought, who better to pair him with than an investigative journalist, an award-winning
Oh,
investigative journalist who
yeah.
had a paranormal event in her early life.
Mhm.
She knows there's magic out there. She knows there's people with powers, and she's out to prove it. And
Oh, wow, that's good.
she's a regular human. They're called
Yes.
regular people without magic are called regs. Think like Muggle, the
Yes,
Muggle in
yes,
Harry Potter. They're just regular people without magic, and they
yeah.
have, most of them have no idea that their next door neighbor could be a witch or a person with magic.
Mhm.
Anyway, she's out to prove that, and he's out to stop her. And
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
there's a killer witch who's going around killing witches and regular people that
Okay.
are jeopardizing the secret witch society. And so he's focused on her now. So
He has to find her, right?
there's a killer witch out
Mhm.
after her. So yeah, so that's the story of keeping her safe, catching that killer. And
Wow, that is fascinating to me. I hope you don't mind me asking, how do you come up with these ideas? What
well,
inspires you? I mean, you don't have to
actually,
give your secrets away.
the whole idea for the Witch Whisperer came just from the title. I watched The Horse Whisperer. I'm into
Oh,
horses.
okay.
And I watched The Horse Whisperer for like the sixth time. And and then I was fooling around with another witch story I had, and this title popped in my head. What about the Witch Whisperer? What about somebody who can fix the broken magic of witches, or improve
Mhm.
their powers or something? And it just grew from there. And I just researched and read so many fantasies and wanted to come up with my own world, my own.
Wow.
They don't come from this world. They come from another fantasy realm.
Mhm.
All this secrets witch society. So I had to build up all that. And
Yeah.
you just draw from your imagination, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it just,
So do I.
you draw your inspiration from everything else you've seen and read and heard. And you do your charts. I'm a big chart person. I'm doing the charts and the spreadsheets and
Like a storyboard type of thing?
yes, all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
I have a bunch of different Word documents with each character and all their details and a little bit of their backstory and this and that.
I
It's
write in
almost
Scrivener. I write in Scrivener, and that's a great place to put all your files and your images. And I'm big on collecting images of my
Yes.
characters and the buildings and the maps. I've done a map of the fantasy world. I did a map of Central Park and New York,
Oh,
Manhattan,
uh-huh.
where it opens in Manhattan. So the yeah, I'm a very outliney person. I'm not a
Yeah.
picture. I can't just sit down and write. I have to know what's going to happen.
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of times, once again, this is probably someone at my day job or whatever, but when Bay of Darkness came out, I mean, I had friends at the office job and they're like, "Oh, what you doing?" Well, I did a book. I'm like, "Oh my God, tell us." So they were fascinated, like, wow, how do they're crunching numbers all day and they're like, "How do you come up with this?" And like I said, like you said, imagination and all that. However, what's funny is that I love doing research like you're just talking about, and there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of technical stuff that goes with writing that is behind the scenes. They don't see us doing that.
Oh
And
no.
we have all our files and Scrivener and pictures. I get pictures too, and I look for just what I want to describe. Like there's Luna Books is a metaphysical bookstore in Half Moon Bay, California, where my book takes place. And I saw this beautiful Victorian house with the hanging basket of flowers, along the swing porch. And then I described it for the book. But of course, I have all those pictures in my files, just like you're talking about. And it's so funny because, and no one was judging me or anything, but they were like, wow, you're just have this fantasy head, Starla. You have all this. I said, yeah, but there's a lot that goes into it too. And it's funny because it's like a dichotomy. You are sort of out there in a fantasy world writing your fantasy story or paranormal. And then here you're over here, crunching the pictures and the research and the files.
Right, your right and left brain comes together.
Yeah.
Well, I got inspiration for the big mansion that Never Ravenwood, my witch whisperer, lives in by watching Knives Out.
Oh yeah, I just saw that.
That Knives Out, that not the second one, the onion thing.
Oh, okay.
The
I saw
first
that one too.
took place in a big old house. But what really grabbed my attention was the props. Every room was stuffed full of the most interesting artifacts and tchotchkes and figurines and just I mean, I was there. I wanted the actor to get out of the way so I could see what was behind just the oddest, weirdest things. And I stuffed my mansion full of that kind of thing. And of course they were magical.
Yeah.
They had their own
amazing
energy about them. So yeah, you build, you get a bare bones and you build on it and you build on it and you layer and you layer and you layer. And that's how you come up with a rich world full of detail.
Right. Wow, you should give a talk on this or something because it's just really, I mean, for people starting out with writing, excuse me, it's just good to hear published authors discuss their process and everything that goes behind it.
Yep. Well, I've been writing for over 30 years, so even longer, dabbling like an artist doodles. And
yes.
But finally they do their big canvas. But so I've taken so many classes and courses and workshops and everything on every subject on writing. I just I'm a sponge. So
well, it has proven to be very successful. So
it's early days yet. It hasn't been out for a month yet. So
okay. Well, I'm definitely going to read it, and I wish you happy sales and the best of luck with that book. It sounds absolutely fascinating and compelling to me. So any last words? And go ahead.
Well, I really appreciate you having me on, and I've really enjoyed it. And I hope listeners and people watching, get a better sense of what's involved in this paranormal and go out and find the magic.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. I should just put that on the title of this video. Go out and find the magic.
Right.
I love it. Well, thank you for your wonderful words of wisdom, Barb. And
Welcome.
so you're working on the second book,
Yep.
and maybe that will, I'm sorry, there's a siren outside.
Yeah,
And if
I'm
you heard
afraid
what?
I was afraid my phone would go off with an alert for mudslides. We got an
Oh
emergency
yeah,
alert.
California's having issues. I know. I'm so sorry. I'm in New York. We're having some cold weather, but
Yeah, we're having a big storm right now.
yeah, I don't have the snow here. There's supposed to be a little bit, but we just have some cold temperatures. I'm north of New York City, but yeah, the Midwest and everything. Oh my goodness. So let's hope everyone the weather gets better.
Yes, yes, it will eventually.
Yes,
Spring's
yes.
coming.
What?
Spring is coming. The
Yeah,
crocuses are starting to come up.
right around the corner. As usual, this year is flying. But thanks again, Barb, and we can look forward to the second book. I know you don't know have the date yet. We're working on it, and I'm working on my third. And
Yep.
people ask, and I say I don't really know yet. Don't ask.
Yeah, I know, I know.
It'll be out sometime.
Yeah.
So
Good
anyway,
luck to us all.
yes, thank you again for
Hey,
coming on
thank you.
Creativity and the Paranormal.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.